So when we start a period of meditation, just as a temporary transition point, you just allow your attention. It's a kind of descent. It just descends down from the mind, down through the body, all the way down into the lower belly, and just attention is just resting there. The breath is a sort of non-conceptual anchor, which means we can pay attention to the breath instead of to the narrative. And just notice what happens as you rest your attention with the breath down in the belly. And the key little phrase here is to rest. It's an easeful thing, just to rest attention, not to improve the breath or change it, just to notice its quality. And notice just by attending to the breath for the first few minutes of meditation, watch what effect it has on the body and mind. And as you just rest attention with the breath, it has an effect on the whole nervous system. Naturally, it kind of calms the nervous system, cools it down a bit. And you're just allowing the body and mind to find this kind of internal balance where you're relaxed and at ease. You're not trying to control your experience, just at ease, at rest. And also very present, not dreamy, but just very present. What are the things you come to notice by attending to the breath? Is the quality of the breath is a direct reflection of the quality of the mind. So when the breath is easy and fluid, and it's it's able to drop down into the belly, that's because the mind is easy and fluid, not grasping or controlling. So your attitude is actually reflected in the quality of the breath. And the invitation of meditation, as I was discussing in the talk this morning, the invitation is to take the one seat, to just be fully open, fully willing to experience whatever is happening, to completely show up. And at some point, when you're simply attending to the breath, at some point your attention will naturally start to notice the space around the breath. You'll start to notice the overall presence of quiet and spaciousness all around the breath. And as that happens, you're just relaxing attention and letting it transition from the breath to this kind of silent presence all around the breath, within the room. If you find that continuing to follow the breath works best for you, by all means, you can just continue to do that. But as our attention becomes more subtle, more refined, we notice this quiet and open presence. And please keep in mind that the words that I'll use during these guided meditations are just a small part of the guidance. They're just the part of the guidance that you can hear. But actually underneath the words is where the sort of deeper guidance can be experienced. It's just sort of a resonance of consciousness to consciousness. notice that sort of background quiet. And instead of focusing attention on some object of awareness, you're just sort of relaxing and opening attention to the context in which all experience arises and passes away. And the context is quiet, naturally quiet. It's spacious. And this quietness, this spaciousness, it's already completely aware. The one certain quality of this context, this open and quiet spaciousness, is that it's naturally aware. And you begin to notice and experience that a lot of the qualities that people look for in meditation, like quiet, spacious, and aware, that these qualities are actually qualities of the context. They're already and always existing. Awareness is there before you even try to be aware. And the inner silence is already silent before you even notice it. And if you should become distracted by thoughts, just take a moment and notice the breath again. Very simply, without blame, without judgment. And then once again, you notice the space around the breath. The always and already existing presence of awareness. You could think of this meditation as all you're doing is being only aware. Only aware. Not commenting or problem solving or trying to control, but just only aware. And see if you can notice whatever your intuitive felt sense of being the meditator is at this moment, of being the someone who's doing this, whatever your sense of that is, the someone, the meditator that's doing this, just notice it as just, it's also just another experience. And without trying to make it happen, just invite the experience of being the meditator to just fall away. Just inviting the sense of being the meditator, the someone who's doing this. Just inviting that subtle experience to fall away. Till there's just the meditation. You might notice that that feeling sense of being the meditator is actually nothing but a subtle contraction within consciousness, subtle contraction which is diffused throughout the whole body-mind. And essentially it's nothing but that, just a subtle experience. And as soon as you notice it, That the meditator is just a very subtle state of contraction. You can just invite that contraction to open. And the experience of being the meditator can just sort of dissolve away. At the beginning, the feeling of being the meditator will only dissolve away for a moment, maybe a few seconds, and then you'll feel the subtle contraction again. And then you just notice that. You allow that subtle sense to unwind itself. The meditator to fall away. So at the beginning it just falls away for moments, but that's okay. You can just keep inviting it to relax again. And at other times it may just fall away. Leaving only the meditation doing itself. Meditating all by itself.